What's up, everybody? I am GilFlow.
I'm Morris Leach.
And we are Video Game Archivists, bringing you Topgear Overdrive on the Nintendo 64 Chronicles, game number 14. Oh boy. Let's get into this, because this one we're going to fight. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and let it play in demo mode while we talk about it. So, I didn't make a lot of notes during this game. This was my favorite racing game when I was a kid, excluding kart games on the Nintendo 64.
No, man, I didn't. As a kid, I didn't give it a fair chance, so to speak.
Yeah,
because
Top Gear Rally. Yeah.
Top Gear Rally. So at that point, I decided I'm not touching Top Gear again. So it's like Rally 2 came out, this one came out. I didn't care. I didn't bother.
Yep. So real quick, we played 2-player championship through the whole thing. We beat it in about 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
So it's a really short game. One thing I will say is in the beginning of the game, you're very weak.
Yeah, a little absurd.
Like, it's possible to place fourth and get a little bit of money, but you have to invest in your cars in order to start getting first.
Yeah. Which Top Gear in general has always had that investment, which I always do like. But the fact is how weak you are in the early game, even mid-game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The fact that it feels like you need to use one of your nitros automatically just to accelerate.
Yeah.
It's only until they get the final cars.
Yeah, they're the last 2 seasons. So one thing I will tell you guys right off the bat, if anything from this review you take, the soundtrack to it's awesome. I don't think this band's around anymore. It's the only way you can find their music on this game. You might be able to find it online now, but the soundtrack to this is awesome.
I unfortunately find it sad that I think obviously the limitations of the time, the only way you get to enjoy it seems, at least with it, is play one player.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Playing 2-player, the music's gone. It's just straight up gone. At first we thought it was because the game had the high resolution option, that okay, then we'll hit the music.
Yeah.
But we didn't. And honestly, this game looks muddier than Ridge Racer.
The graphics are bad. It's one of the common complaints about the game.
Which for me,
even with high res though, I didn't notice any difference in the game.
Nah, there wasn't. Unless, it's like it didn't give you options. Like, it's not like you had to restart the game just to get the option, right? Because it's N64.
Yeah, I could have exited it out. So the other thing I want to say is do not play this game in third-person mode. It's so much easier to control your cars in first-person.
To me, it's also a detriment because it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah, I mean,
you get some racers where it's like, okay, if you're trying to back up and doing shit, but this one, when it feels like automatically you're gonna mess up because you're third person, that's a detriment for me.
The other thing about this game is you've got to learn the tracks. You've got to learn the shortcuts. Bleach struggled a lot in the early game because he didn't know any of the shortcuts and he would blow up and miss them.
Yeah.
We'll talk about blowing up in a second. But he would play slow while I was basically carrying him. Some fun exploits for the game if you're playing 2-player mode. Someone fully upgrades their car, and you, the other player, buy the next level car. That person, we can quit out of it, go back in the championship, they can pick the higher grade car and it's fully upgraded and worth more and they can just upgrade to the next
level. And honestly, that exploit you kind of, in my opinion, get to the end.
You don't
need it, but the fact is, in order to get to the part where it is semi-enjoyable.
Yeah. So, hold on. So one of the complaints I have about this game, as someone that still loves this game, I enjoyed it the whole way through, I know you did, was as we upgraded our cars, the top 3 place people always had either a step above us or the same car we did. Yeah, so it didn't matter. We could have stayed on the lower grade cars, and they would have stayed lower too. It scales with your car.
Okay,
to keep it fair challenge.
That's interesting.
So you can't out-level the game. It just gives you more power.
I will say, that's kind of interesting. It's almost like Final Fantasy 8-ish. I also have a problem with that game. But
so, I mean, other than that, it's a racing game. You will be on the wall hugging it a lot. But as long as you don't hit it head-on, you're good.
And I will say, hugging the wall, usually most racers, this one knew it couldn't make that a detriment. Because if it did, this game would be nearly unplayable.
Yep. So, like, if you're playing this game, you don't know how to drift, it's fine. You don't even know how to drift. It
doesn't really have a real drift mechanic. Just hold the gas. It just has a looser, floatier control.
Yeah, it's very, very loose and flat. So this is one that I feel like people are going to love and hate, and you will see why in a minute. That's all I have to really say. I mean, I think the cars and they're cool looking. It's cool you get to unlock like 4 or 5 cars when you beat the game. Other ones I think you have to do cheat codes on. The last track. You want to talk about the last track?
Yeah, that was an enjoyable track. And you were fucking up on it. That was the funny thing.
Well, I flew off the side.
And I will say when it comes to flying off the side, which this game will let you fly off the tracks.
Yeah.
It is way too fucking easy to do it. I'm not talking about like a late game GT cars are ridiculously fast. It's too easy in the beginning of the game, too. Even for the shit cars. Because I did that in like the first track, too.
So I will say, like, comparing this, because obviously Ridge Racer is the other one we played. This is far more forgiving than Ridge Racer is. Obviously, we beat 2.5 hours. We played through the whole thing. We played every track. It's pretty cool with the weather. The weather does impact your cars. Obviously, rain, you slide more. Snow, you drift like crazy.
Yeah, snow is the only difference I really noticed.
I noticed it on rain too.
I didn't notice so much in rain, but snow definitely.
So there's points that there are certain shortcuts you can only take with a slow car.
Yeah, which is like, to me, that level of the track design is not that good because of it.
Alright, so we're going to get into the reviews.
Well, I will say with the shortcuts, because obviously as you go on shortcuts, which in general that's for racing, but you know some of those shortcuts were designed where, they have artificial barriers to narrow the actual gap you have to go into, and that's bullshit.
You need to talk about the beach level.
Oh yeah, the beach level. It's just kind of weird how it's basically, okay, you go through the waterfall, which at first kind of looked like scenery, but obviously based on this game with its shortcut you know it's a fucking shortcut.
Yeah.
But when you go through the waterfall, first you hit the ceiling, so that slows you down immediately. Then you go through the waterfall, and then it kind of directs you off to the beach, which skips most of the track. And when you get faster and faster, on the faster later levels and seasons, it only gets you up to like 2 places at best.
So that's our discussion on the game. So let's go to our ratings. Obviously, 50 is just meh. There's nothing special about it, nothing good, nothing bad. 100 is perfect. Everything in between is a different scale of good, from 50 down to Superman 64 at 1. Foreshadowing is bad. Obviously, the worse. Lower down the scale it gets, the worse it gets. So let's get into this controversial review. So for nostalgia, obviously, I told you already, it's one of my favorite racing games. I give it an 85. Spleech?
Meanwhile, I just went with nothing good, nothing bad, but I know nostalgia-wise, it's like if you were, like, as a kid renting the game or back then, it's like, okay, it doesn't feel horrible at first as you go along, but it just doesn't feel that good either.
Gotcha. So yeah, again, I love this game as a kid, and review-wise for now. I did rust mine down to a 69. There was a couple places I actually clipped through the world. Granted, it didn't detriment the race, but
or crash the game, fortunately. But
yeah, so there was a few issues, and like I said, I can understand why people would look at this game and be like, it's crap, because it's not as good as I remember it. But it was I still enjoyed it for a 2.5 hour playthrough.
Meanwhile, it's for me. Obviously, I don't have true nostalgia for it, but it's just like going right now playing it. It's just like I definitely put it under the playable section just because it's like, you're not gonna want, unless you're playing with 2 players, and to me, alcohol should be involved. I'm sorry, but it's like you have to like push yourself through the early part of the game just to get to the final season where it might be enjoyable. And to me, the only good track was the bonus track, Space Trucking, which at the same time you can't select it on the regular verses after you beat the game, which is bullshit.
Play it to beat the game. Yep. Which you gave it a 31. That's the first it's bad rating. In the review.
It's bad.
So overall, we balanced it out. It came out at a 59, which is just okay. And I think that's a good place to put it. It shows the 2 sides of the coin for this game. You either love it or hate it.
I think more people probably flip on my side because I've heard about people not like this from you about this, but I haven't researched it. Like I said, once I played Top Gear, I was so disappointed in it. I literally
that's gonna be fun. Top Gear Rally coming soon, where Spleech screams the entire stream. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.